With all the creative freedom that modern video games have, it's no surprise that plenty of these games have managed to push the general public over the edge. What's up guys, my name is Burnsy, and today we'll be counting down the top 10 video games that seriously pissed off the world. Here we go. We are running a $200 Amazon gift card giveaway the entire month. All you have to do to enter is like this video, be subscribed, turn on your notifications, and comment why you want to win with your Twitter handle attached. I will announce the winner at the end of the month on Twitter. Number 10, Guitar Hero 5. You probably didn't expect to see this game on this sort of list, did you? Well, there was a feature in the Guitar Hero series where you could sometimes unlock real-life musicians to play in your band. In Guitar Hero 5, one of the unlockable characters was Kurt Cobain, the lead singer in Nirvana, who committed suicide in 1994. People were pretty turned off at being able to play a video game as a character in the music industry whose suicide had a lot to do with his hatred of commercialism. Things got even uglier when it came out that Activision did not even have the rights to use Cobain as a playable character, according to his wife Courtney Love and his estate. Activision and the Guitar Hero franchise got into even more hot water when they had a repeat scenario with the release of Band Hero, which featured all the members of the band No Doubt. According to the band, Activision did not have permission to use their likeness in the game, which led to a lawsuit that Courtney Love joined in to support. If you're looking for reasons as to why Guitar Hero died off, everything we just talked about has a big part in it. It's a shame a game this fun died off because it provided hours of entertainment for someone like me who is musically illiterate. I literally cannot play an instrument to save my life. I could have hours of training, it just won't happen. Number 9, Mass Effect. This one isn't so much what Mass Effect did to piss people off, but rather what Fox News did to Mass Effect that pissed off the world. When the first Mass Effect game was released, it was critically acclaimed, and for good reason. This game is amazing. Things must have been slow over at Fox News that day because they picked up the game and launched a massive smear campaign against it, claiming that the game was pornographic and even called the gaming community a community of perverts who played on the sex box. People were outraged at Fox News for doing no research and for being so disrespectful to the Mass Effect developers who tried to come on the show and defend their game. Things eventually died down, but at the time of this controversy, people were furious at Fox News for running such a massive story that was completely made up. Number 8, Doom, the godfather of the modern first-person shooter. Doom was released in 1993 and is the child of John Carmack and John Romero. Doom laid the foundation for the first-person shooter genre and created an entire new genre of Doom clones. However, the game got considerable attention from the media due to its satanic themes and brutal violence. This isn't the first time we've seen a game get this kind of attention for these reasons. While other graphic games had some kind of story to them, Doom got a lot of attention for it basically being everything a parent would not want their kid getting involved in. Blood, guts, demons, pentagrams, rock music, you name it. It was one of the first games to ever be stamped with the M for mature rating, and it was even called a mass murder simulator. Really? A mass murder simulator? Oh, it's religious groups calling them that. Of course they are. That makes a lot of sense now. As much as we love Doom now, and as much as we love what it did for the industry, you can't deny how much it angered people upon release. And to me, it's hilarious when people get mad for stupid reasons. Number 7, BULLETSTORM. Intended to be an over-the-top profanity-ridden thrill ride of a game, BULLETSTORM actually became targeted by many news outlets due to its graphic content. In fact, some even went as far to say that the game was straight-up dangerous for children to see. One outlet even stated that if the game was released, there would be an increase in rapes in the United States. I'm dead serious, someone legitimately said that. Because when I play violent video games with a lot of profanity in them, after I'm done, the first thing that I think of is, you know what, I never thought of committing a violent crime such as rape, but hey, I kind of want to rape people now. That this game makes me want to rape. What a bunch of ridiculous nonsense. It's pretty strange to see how much hate this game got before release, since it kind of flew under the radar once it came out. Perhaps that was the goal of the news outlets when they attacked it. Number 6, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Personally, one of my favorites in the Call of Duty franchise. Many of the Call of Duty games have sparked controversy in one way or another, but none caused much of a stir as Modern Warfare 2. Released in 2009, Modern Warfare 2 contained a sequence in the single-player campaign where your character went undercover as a member of a terrorist group in order to gain inside information on the game's antagonist, Makarov. However, this also forces you to go along with the group as they commit a mass murder in an airport, gunning down hundreds of innocent civilians and allowing the player to kill as many or as few as they wanted. The media absolutely exploded when this game came out, calling Modern Warfare 2 a murder simulator. See, there's a common theme among violent video games that the media doesn't like. They also called it a terrorist fantasy. The developers responded by saying that the sequence is very necessary to the plot, as it reveals a lot of important information about Makarov and it kickstarts the rest of the story. But they also noted that the entire sequence can be skipped and the player is given plenty of warning beforehand that there is extremely graphic content ahead. Things eventually died down with Modern Warfare 2 and it went down in history as one of the best and most important first-person shooter games of all time, but it definitely caused a stir when it was initially released. Number 5. Battlefield 4. If you were a fan of the Battlefield series back during this game's release, you probably know where we're going with this one. In fact, you've probably heard about the whole Battlefield 4 fiasco even if you've never played the Battlefield series in your entire life. Released in October of 2013, Battlefield 4 launched in a famously broken state due to it being totally unoptimized and unfinished. The multiplayer was unplayable thanks to the terrible server conditions and countless bugs. Even the single player was unplayable due to it constantly refusing to save your progress, and the game overall was just a complete waste of time due to the frequent crashes. EA clearly rushed this game out the door in order to compete with Activision's new Call of Duty game, and Battlefield 4 was in horrible condition for weeks and weeks after release, infuriating gamers and fans of the series who felt they were being taken advantage of by the publisher. Thankfully, the game was eventually fixed and is now a great game, but the damage was certainly done. Now I understand that this is a business and you have to keep up with your competitor, but here's a tip for developers making new games. Gamers would much rather have a finished game even if it means you have to delay it another quarter. Finish your games, make them great, I promise you, you will get more customer loyalty. Number 4. Mad World. Easily one of the most graphic games of all time, Mad World came out for the Nintendo Wii in 2009. Yeah, that's right, one of the most graphic games of all time was released on the Nintendo Wii. The game is actually quite good and is definitely a lot of fun if you're a fan of hack and slashers, but the game got a ton of controversy due to its violence and the fact that it was released on the Wii, because Nintendo is seen by many parents as the family-friendly game company. Many of them were outraged when Nintendo decided to publish such an intense game on their console. The National Institute on Media and Family even issued a statement that Nintendo had betrayed the trust of their customers by allowing this game to be published. The developers responded by saying that the criticism was ridiculous since the game is stamped with a nice big M for mature. It can easily be avoided by consumers who don't want their kids playing it. But this game definitely earns a spot on our list for the amount of backlash it got, whether you agree with the critics or not. Number 3. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Pretty much every Grand Theft Auto game has caused a ton of controversy, and it's not a secret why. The game is about you going around doing whatever the hell you want in the world around you. The controversy got even louder with Grand Theft Auto 3 when the series shifted to a third-person open-world game, as the previous titles were 2D top-down shooters. But things got really crazy with the release of San Andreas. Originally, San Andreas was to feature a sequence where you could meet up with a woman, go on a date, take her home, and bang the hell out of her with an interactive sex minigame. Rockstar Games was forced to cut this sequence out just weeks before release in order to avoid the AO rating from the ESRB, adults only. This would have greatly hurt their sales since many retailers refused to stock games with that rating. They cut out the sequence, got the M rating, and everything was good. That is, until gamers discovered that the sex sequence wasn't actually cut out, but rather just locked off to the player. Not too long afterwards, people figured out how to unlock it and the world exploded. At the time, nothing this sexually graphic was in a AAA title, and this got Rockstar Games in some serious hot water for saying that they cut a sequence out when they obviously did not, and the game was re-rated back to adults only. Number 2. Death Race. One of the first video games to ever garner attention for its violence. Death Race was an arcade game released in 1976. It is inspired by the 1975 movie Death Race 2000. This game simply had you drive around in an open world and run over random people who would scream and then turn into tombstones. Looking back at it now, it's hard to believe this game could ever be considered controversial with the violence we see now, but back in the 70s, a game based around murder pissed a ton of people off. In fact, the National Safety Council called it morbid, gross, and insidious. Things only got worse when it became known that the original title for this game was Pedestrian. and that just served to make people even more upset at the senseless violence. And the number one spot for the top 10 games that pissed off the world belongs to Mortal Kombat. If you didn't think this one was going to be the number one spot, I'm not sure you know video games very well. The original Mortal Kombat game was so graphic and so over the top that it not only got the attention of the United States Senate, it single-handedly created the ESRB. It started the decades-long debate of whether or not violent video games will cause real-world crime. Spoiler alert for people back during Mortal Kombat, it doesn't. Upon release of the original game in the arcades in 1992, parents were outraged that such a violent video game was on display to children in an arcade. Imagine walking around an arcade and seeing some family-friendly Pac-Man, and then looking to your right and seeing someone ripping out another person's spine. That would have blown your mind! Mortal Kombat was one of the most realistic games ever at the time and shocked the world with its excessive blood and graphic fatalities that got more and more insane with every new entry in the series. No game series has ever angered more people than this one has, and that's good enough for me to get the number one spot. That concludes our list for the top 10 games that pissed off the world. My name is Bernsey, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you learned something today. If you want to see more videos, there is a playlist down below for your viewing pleasure, and if you'd like to submit your own ideas for future videos, click the link below. My name once again is Bernsey, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. I will see you next time.